Today we're going to learn about something called a blind contour. Now, the word contour is the shape of something in space. So a contour drawing is going to be something that has lines that shows a three-dimensional form. And of course, blind is a little bit of a confusing word when you put it with contour. Blind contours are when you are looking at the object you are drawing, but you're not looking at your drawing itself. Okay, so you're not closing your eyes, but you're rather watching something far away, following the lines of it with your eyes, and drawing what you see without looking at your paper. Now that might seem kind of like a weird thing to do, and it kind of is, but this is actually going to be one of the best exercises that you can do to learn how to draw accurately. The end goal here is not what our drawing looks like, but the level of detail we are able to get in it, okay? So what's really important here is we're not gonna care too much about what the drawing ends up looking like. We're gonna care more about the hand and eye coordination we are kind of trying to establish between our hand and our eye, okay? So with blind contours, for instance, if I were to use this glue bottle, what I would be doing is with my eye, I would be following every little detail that I see, the little ridges in the cap, the lines that show where the cap meets the little neck, the lines in the cap, the edge of the neck, the curve of it, how it goes down through the shoulders of this bottle and down and around. What I'm doing is I'm following it with my eye, but I'm kind of turned away from my drawing. So I'm actually physically taking this away from my drawing so I'm not tempted to look at what I'm doing. And what I'm doing is I'm trying really hard to then sketch what I see as I look, okay? So I'm gonna do a blind contour right now. And what I'm gonna do is as I look at, for instance, starting at the top of my glue bottle, I'm going to follow the line with my eye only. I'm not looking at my drawing at all, but I'm looking at what I see on the bottle, on my nozzle here. Okay, and I'm just trying to use my eye to see what I see and draw what I see, but I'm not looking at my drawing. And again, I don't really care what my drawing ends up looking like. This is more about what my hand-eye coordination can gain from just watching my object instead of my picture. Sometimes it's easier if you tape these pieces of paper to your table so that you don't have to keep readjusting your hand like I do. So I'm in the label part right now. There's this little kind of, I guess that's a sheep on their little label. So I'm just kind of following what I see, the lines that I see on my object, and I'm not worried about what my drawing looks like. I haven't even looked at my drawing since I started. But what's really interesting about blind contours is that a lot of times when you do go back and look at your drawing, it looks a lot like what you drew. It just is a little bit wonky. Okay, I'm done. Oh yeah. So if you look at this blind contour versus the drawing that I made, there's a few things that you should notice. For starters, again, I don't really care that this looks weird. What I care about is that I actually did get a whole lot of detail in here. And what's interesting is that it's almost, you can tell what this object is, you know what I mean? Like it looks like a glue bottle. It just looks like a very strangely drawn glue bottle, okay? So that is a blind contour, and you don't have to do something this detailed for your first one. Let's try a different object, okay? So I'll do this crayon. And again, I am not looking at my paper. The real thing that we're trying to accomplish with this is the using of your eye to show what something looks like, what the form of something is. And what I'm doing here is I'm not really caring what the end result is. I'm just trying to follow the lines with my eyes. And the more you practice this, I know this seems like such a strange thing to do, but the more you practice blind contours, the more you get that hand-eye coordination. So here we go. Here's my crayon with the little waves on the paper and the little part of the label right there. And you know, these aren't connected, but I actually did a pretty good job of keeping that pretty straight, which is kind of remarkable, I suppose. So blind contours are just all about hand-eye coordination, figuring out how to make your eye and your hand work together when you draw. And blind contours, you know, you can do these for a warm-up when you're ready to start drawing. Do a blind contour of what you're going to draw, and then draw it with looking at your paper and comparing the two items. But the point here being is that, you know, we're really using our eye to find the details on what we are drawing, rather than trying to worry about what our end result looks like, okay? So we're gonna be practicing this in class, and this is just a video for those of you who either missed class or wanted to look at what we were doing before class. But blind contours are super, super great for learning how to draw better. They're a great brain exercise, and it's something that you should do in a relatively quiet environment. You know, minimize distraction, and just marker is the best tool because it's the easiest thing to get marks on your paper with when you're not looking. And again, I said maybe even taping your paper to the table is a good way so that your paper isn't moving around when you're trying to draw. But in class, we're going to be talking about these a lot more and the association that they have to the right side of your brain. And then eventually we're going to move on to not blind contours, but just regular contour drawings, okay? So great job, and let's practice.